It was in the bleary middle of a hard-boiled Arctic night. I was lonesome as a loon, so if you can, imagine my emotions of amazement and delight when I bumped into the missionary man. He was lying lost and dying in the moon's unholy leer. He was frozen from his toes to fingertips. The famished wolf pack ringed him, but he didn't seem to care as he clasped his icebound Bible to his lips. It was the limit of my trap lines, with my cabin miles away, and every step was like a stab of pain. But I packed him like a baby, and I nursed him night and day until I got him back to health and strength again. And there we were, benighted, in the shadow of the pole, and he might have proved a priceless little pard if he hadn't got to worrying about my blessed soul, and a quoting me his Bible by the yard. Now there was I, a husky guy, whose God was nicotine, a coffin nail, a fixture in my mug. I rolled him in the pages of a pulpwood magazine, and hacked him with my jackknife from a plug. For oh, to know the bliss and glow that good tobacco means, just live among that everlasting ice. Then judge my horror when I found my magazines had been chewed into a chowder by the mice. A woeful week went by, not a single pill I had. Me that could smoke my 40 in a day. I sighed, I swore, I strode the floor, I felt I would go mad. And that gospel plugger watched me in dismay. My brow was wet, my teeth were set, my nerves were rasping raw, and still that preacher couldn't understand. And with despair I wrestled there, when suddenly I saw the volume he was holding in his hand. Then something snapped inside my brain, and with an evil start, the wolfman in me woke to rabid rage. I saved your lousy life, said I, so show you have a heart and tear me out a solitary page. He shrank and shrivelled at my words. His face went pewter white. 'Twas just as if I'd handed him a blow. And then he seemed to swell and grow to heaven's height, and in a voice that rang, he answered, "No." Well, I grabbed my loaded rifle and I jabbed it to his chest. "Come on, you shrimp, give up that book," says I. Well, sir, he was a parson, but he stacked up with the best, and for grit, I've got to hand it to the guy. "If I should let you desecrate this holy word," he said, "my soul would be eternally accursed. So go on, Bill, I'm ready. You can pump me full of lead and take it, but you'll have to kill me first." Well, I'm no foul assassin, though I'm full of sinful ways. I knew right then and there he had me beat, for I felt a yellow mongrel in the glory of his gaze, and I flung my foolish firearm at his feet. Then wearily I turned around, I dropped down on my bunk. I lay there, and I blubbered like a kid. "Forgive me, pard," I said at last, "for acting like a skunk, but hide that blasted rifle," which he did. And he also hid his Bible, which was maybe just as well, for the sight of all that paper gave me pain. And there were crimson moments when I'd thought I'd go to hell just to have a single cigarette again. So there I lay, day after day, and brooded dark and deep, until the day I thought I'd end it all. Then rough I roused the preacher, who lay pretending sleep, with his mask of horror turned toward the wall. "See here, my pious pal," said I, "I've stood it long enough. Behold, I've mixed some strychnine in a cup, enough to kill a dozen men. Believe me, it's no joke. Now watch me, 'cause I'm going to drink it up. You've seen me bludgeoned by despair through bitter days and nights, and now you'll see me squirming as I die. You're not to blame, you played the game according to your lights, but how would Christ have played it? Well, goodbye." With that I raised the deadly brew and laid it to my lips, but he was on me with a tiger bound, And as we locked and reeled and rocked in wild and wicked grips, the poison cup went crashing to the ground. "Don't do it, Bill," he madly shrieked. "Maybe I acted wrong. See, here's my Bible. Use it as you will. But promise me you'll read a little as you go along. You do, then, brother, smoke your fill." And so I did. I smoked and smoked, from Genesis to Job. And as I smoked, I read each blessed word. Whilst in the shadow of his bunk, I heard him sigh and sob. And then a most peculiar thing occurred. I got to reading more and more, and smoking less and less, till just about the day his heart was broke. "See, here's your Bible back, my lad. I've had enough, I guess. Your paper makes a mighty rotten smoke." And then in there, with plea and prayer, he wrestled for my soul, and I was racked and ravished by regrets. But God was good, for lo, next day there came the police patrol, with paper for 1,000 cigarettes. And now I'm called Salvation Bill. I preach the living law, and ballyhoo the Bible with the best. And if a guy don't listen, why I sock him on the jaw, and preach the gospel sitting on his chest.